Dr. John Lennox, a mathematician, bioethicist, and Christian apologist, recently had a conversation, very interesting conversation, with Alex O'Connor, in which he talked about a critical mistake that many Christians make in sharing the gospel. Let's take a look, and I'll offer some thoughts.
Pilate was threatened by any threat to Rome. And was Jesus a king who was trying to overthrow him politically? And Jesus' answer was, well, I am a king, but not in the sense you mean. To this end I was born, to this end I came into the world, that I might bear witness to the truth. And Pilate said, what is truth? And went out and said, Jesus is innocent, because he was bright enough to see what most of us can see, that the one thing you cannot do by force and violence is impose truth, especially if it's truth about salvation, peace with God, forgiveness, a new life, and all this kind of thing.
Yes. Put away your sword, Peter. This is what comes to my mind. They're in the Garden of Gethsemane. The soldiers come with clubs and weapons to take Jesus away. Peter is fighting on those terms when he pulls out his sword, and Jesus says, put away your sword, Peter. There's another way. I'm just going to witness to the truth. This is what wins hearts, not imposition, but proposition. This is my body offered for you, given for you. Take it or leave it, but here I am. And it reminds me of a critical moment in my own life and journey. And I'm going to hold this out to parents right now. Parents, I'm a parent. My wife and I have 5 kids. We've been through all of it with them. We have only 2 teenagers left. The 3 oldest ones are married and living their lives. And there's a struggle between every parent and child when the parents are believers and they want so understandably to pass the faith on to their children. There comes a time when parents just have to let go, like let go. And here I want to sing the praises of my own earthly father, who when I was 18 and he was in his 40s, late 40s, and we were just clashing. And I felt like this heavy hand on me. They wanted me to, embrace the Catholic faith, and I didn't want to embrace the Catholic faith. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I just kept feeling more and more this pressure. And at age 18, this is the time when parents, if you haven't already let go, now's the time you got to let go. And thanks be to God, my father finally got to the place where he said to me, I'll never forget this. I'll never forget it. This was a few months before the letting me go. And this is when we were still in the heat of the tension. My dad said to me, he was looking at my life, and he said, it's as if I'm on the top of a mountain. I'm looking down and I see you coming around the road, and there's a truck coming this way and you don't see it. And I'm trying to warn you. And in my youthful arrogance, but also in a zealous desire to protect my own self-determination, which I came to years later, I came to learn from John Paul II, we do need to safeguard our own ability to make our own decisions, right? We have to be set free to pursue the truth for ourselves, right? We have an obligation to seek the truth and an obligation to cling to it when we find it and as we find it. But the truth cannot be imposed on a free creature. This is critical. And my dad's standing on top of the mountain looking down saying, you're going to crash, you're going to crash. I said to him, let me crash. And I think he finally received that from me. And a couple months later, he said, I'm done trying to impose this on you. You're 18 years old. You need to go figure it out for yourself. Go. And I remember this weight came off my shoulders. This heavy imposition, as I felt it at the time, came off. And I needed that to happen. It was one of the greatest moments of my father's fathering of me when he let me go. And 6 months later, I of my own accord, I, Christopher West, the I that I was given by God as a creature with freedom, I, using that I, fell on my knees. I did, not because my parents told me to, but I fell on my knees and said, God in heaven, if you exist, you better show me. And I needed the freedom from my parents. They needed to let go of me to get to that place. The truth can never be imposed. Love and truth go together. But truth without love is not truthful, and love without truth is not loving. We need to have truth and love come together in such a way that we're not threatened by letting go of others and saying, you must decide. You must decide. And at the end of every confession, when John Paul II was in the confessional, hearing someone's confession, he would lay out the truth the best he could in all of its beauty and attractiveness and splendor. But at the end of every confession, he would say, you must decide. That's respect for the freedom of persons. And that's what I think they were getting at there. So important.